What is Gucci YouTube? It's your boy Black Uchiha 3, long face, skinny body, and we are back still black with some more fire Boruto manga related content. And today we got a very special video, so you already know the dealio. Before we get into the video, like, comment, subscribe, smash that like button, share the video with your friends, and let's hop to the business. Yes, Sirski.
9 mountains and 8 seas make one world. 1,000 worlds make one chiliocosm. 1 chiliocosm to the power of 3, and there's nothing I can't cut.
Now, if you were to ask me at any point within the last year, how do I see the final stages of Boruto essentially ending up, I would tell you, and you've heard me say it, especially within these last few weeks, that I see Akebi being revived and coming back as possibly or one of the final villains of Boruto, right? And it just all makes sense. And it's not like it's a wild out there theory, because we see endless people talking about the same or similar situations regarding around the character. But then moving deeper into it, as I'm thinking about even doing this video, it really dawned on me. It can even be much more. And I'm thinking it might even be that case, right? So if you were to ask me today that same question, I'm still in the ballpark of final villain Akebi Otsutsuki walking amongst us and popping up out the shadows like it's nothing. And then I also see it going a number of ways, because I can't count out the fact that Shibai Otsutsuki himself is going to have to play a major role within the story, right? And it's inevitable. They brought him up endless times. His power is one of the core themes that has been moving forward since the end of the part 1 and moving into 2 Blue Vortex. So Shibai is inevitable. And it's really, so in terms of Akebi herself, end game, like final villain, is kind of a hard game, all in type of bet. But I still see her within that area, within that ballpark of the final villains of Boruto. So I can see 3 situations ultimately, which led me to the conclusion of Akebi somehow being intertwined. And I'm heavily inclined to believe that the direction of the story will lead into one of these 3 directions regarding the character. And the most likely, or the one that I believe or have the most thought to come to fruition by the end of the story, is the one I'm going to say for the end of the video. But just to quickly go over the type of ideas, how I see Akebi being brought back with all of the signs from the character of Delta, for the character of Akebi, from what Amado stated. And then even flat out in chapter 18, we're just going to bring it straight out. Amado stated, even if Akebi comes back as Otsutsuki and Kawaki decides to try to kill her, because of that, he won't hold back and fight against Kawaki. So we already know that Amado has chosen his side. Regardless of the outcome, he's going to choose Akebi. He's going to choose whatever is revived throughout that body that he set up within the machine that he wants Kawaki to place his karma seal on. So for all of my culture people out there, right, think Castlevania Nocturne season 2, right, when Annette came back and she essentially embodied one of the souls of Sekhmet, and we have another person or another villain essentially having 2 other souls. So in the terms of Akebi, what makes it so interesting is the fact that I already mentioned Shibai has to be intertwined into the story some way, somehow. And we know for a fact that Amado has implemented Shibai cells within all of the inners of the Kara, and that includes Delta herself, who just so happened to not awaken the ability of Shibai. But still, what if whatever occurs with Kawaki's karma of implanting it and implementing that data of Akebi onto the new body, whether it be including the Shibai cells that are possibly within Kawaki's body as well, or lie dormant within the karma seal, or within this freshly cloned, because we know that Delta herself has Shibai cells, just hasn't awakened the ability. What if Akebi comes back essentially harnessing a portion or a significant amount of Shibai's soul or Shibai's will or Shibai's chakra, in a sense where it adapts or it changes her persona in a way where we see Akebi, but it's also essentially like registering as Shibai's chakra, right? So it's something crazy, and it could be a way to somehow bring back Momoshiki into the mix, or bring back all these mysterious or unknown figures back into the mix of the story to explain the phenomena that is going on with Akebi's body, and that could explain like the certain circumstances when she's revived, which Kawaki might have the hunch, right? She's going to be so much stronger that she's going to become a problem that nobody essentially can deal with. Even if we see Kawaki get his powers limited removed, she's going to be essentially a problem. So somehow, some way, Shibai cells intertwine. Just think like the type of destiny that mingled with Himawari and her genes that allowed her to reincarnate with Kurama, right? That type of way, where in Akebi's case, or this Akebi that will be revived, somehow, some way has a good portion of chakra that resembles, or a good portion of the soul or the essence that resembles Shibai, in a way that she harnesses so much of his power that she essentially becomes like the earthly reincarnation of Shibai. Now that can just be one way. It's kind of going far-fetched, but essentially we can see that play out in a case, because we already know Naruto was the reincarnation of Ashura. Sasuke was the reincarnation of Indra. So in a simple way, that Akebi could be the reincarnation of Shibai, adapting a different personality, but still being influenced by the power of chakra that she's accumulated. And then even further along, her similarly still regaining an enormous amount of power just from the way that the Karma Seal is being transferred, which we already understand that Kawaki himself is afraid of. She just comes back, and it's not necessarily anything to do with Shibai, but she just comes back branding herself as a new Otsutsuki in whole, just Akebi Otsutsuki, which most people like myself tended to believe. And I do think that's essentially possible as well, because she just comes back and everything possibly seems normal at first. And I can see that happening, right? Where she comes back, everything may seem normal and everything may seem Gucci. And at this point in time, it's even possible that Kashin Koji is dead, so they have no way of relying on future sight or future information. And she's essentially playing everybody. And she's like, nah, I just needed to adjust to this new body and adjust to this new power that I feel dwelling within me. And she comes back as Akebi Otsutsuki that Kawaki feared, and she's one of the main villains that they have to take down. Now, it kind of contradicts, because I definitely want to go more into the Shibai connection with Akebi herself and how it ties into the end game of the story, but also with the point where we see in the first chapter, in the first episode of the story, where we see Boruto and Kawaki facing off, and Kawaki's ideals kind of shifting and goals kind of not aligning with where we see his mindset being placed at currently in the story, with the age of Shinobi being over. But moving even forward, it's more interesting, is something that I pondered on, is Akebi coming back as an Otsutsuki, right? But not as a villain, essentially as a key. And this also can be a way, this also can be a type of loophole or a path to bring back or intertwine Shibai Otsutsuki into the story itself, because she comes back, think of her maybe as a key, or similarly how I explained earlier, her chakra or her power draws in so much of the cells or the essence of Shibai, or the essence of some enormous or powerful entity, that she essentially becomes the key, or maybe she's identified as the Otsutsuki princess. And I thought about this a lot, right? Kaguya was daunted as the clan princess, or the goddess, the rabbit goddess on the earth, right? But we have to also take into account the many times she manipulated the minds of humankind and altered the history of humans as she basically lived her time out on earth. But we also learned that within the Boruto chapters, according to Amado, quote unquote, according to Amado, she was the lower ranking Otsutsuki of the two, between Ishiki and her. Now, what even would be more fishy is, why would the princess of the clan, even if she was a princess, be sent out on a reconnaissance mission, or a recon mission, or a dangerous mission as such, going to Earth and retrieving a chakra fruit? It would be stated or left for low regards, as we see like Momoshiki, Urashiki, Kenshiki, or even Ishiki. And even with her partner being in Ishiki, she was still stated to be the lower ranking. So in terms of the clan itself, I wouldn't regard Kaguya as the princess, but in regards to Akebi, when she awakens, based off of whatever occurs with the Karma Seal, when Kawaki implants it on her, the body or the chakra or the soul that she inhabits is extremely special and extremely strong, and it could possibly be something that we can see the elders of the Otsutsuki clan, or maybe even Shibai Otsutsuki himself, may have been searching for all along. And what they need essentially is her chakra, or her body, or basically whatever power is dwelling within her. But mind you, she's coming back as a regular girl, as we see how Ada explained, basically having the opposite personality of Delta. And in this case, the final saga of Boruto can essentially be a rescue Akebi or protect Akebi arc from other entities, maybe even other Otsutsuki, or maybe even Shibai Otsutsuki himself, who realized once Akebi is awakened that he senses her chakra, or he senses her being coming into existence, and he understands she is what he's been looking for this entire time. And that can be why she is so important, because I already see her being very, very important to the story, and you can't convince me that she won't be. But somewhere along the lines of being awakened, or being, like I said earlier, maybe the quote-unquote earthly reincarnation of the true Otsutsuki princess, which why is her chakra is so special, and why her chakra may be wanted by other Otsutsuki out there. Maybe the 2 missing Otsutsuki tablets are playing around or playing dead until they came across something like this phenomenon specifically, and now the hunt is for Akebi, and the goal is for Boruto, Kawaki, and others of the like to protect her, or possibly even rescue her, or prevent the fate that can bestow upon them once her power is coming into misuse. Now, however you take it, or whichever way you want to decide to go with it, I still see Akebi playing a major role within the final sagas of Boruto, whether it be a villain, whether it be a damsel in distress, or whether it be a key or a final missing piece that all others on the playing board are after. So let me know y'all thoughts and how y'all think she will play majorly within the final sagas over Boruto, or once she actually returns within the story. It's your boy Black Uchi, 3 long face, skinny body. Holla at your bro, I'ma holla at y'all. Black Uchi out, yes sir. Ski.